we're gonna start in child pose. So child pose this time, we're gonna start with your knees touching, and then just lower your head onto the floor, or maybe place your head on a cushion or a blanket, and just resting with your arms down by your sides. So breathing deeply here. And just see if you can find a little rocking motion throughout your hips, just side to side. Maybe rolling on your forehead. And then just pause the movements. Bring your hands by your sides and press the floor away. And we're gonna make our way into an upward facing dog, or option for cobra. But with your hands, you're gonna start to walk your hands further away from the body, coming up onto your hands and knees, and then just start to, bring your hips forward. So ideally your hands are stacked below your shoulders. Keep it bend to your knees, and then just see if you can find a point to your toes. Imagine that your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling, and your hips are pressing down towards the floor. Your heart shining forward. Good, and super slow, you're gonna make your way back to your child pose. So you can keep your hands on the floor in front of you, sit bones towards your heels, lower your forehead, take a full breath, and then repeat. Press the floor away, hinging forward, hips forward, pointing the toes, heart shining between your shoulders. Rock back to child pose. Take a breath. One more. Press the floor away. Bring your shoulders forward. Hips start to go forward. Toes pointing up. Good. Come back to child pose. This time in your child pose, you're going to bring your big toes to touch and your knees nice and wide. Walk your hands out towards the front edge of the mat. Lower your head on the floor. And you can stay here paused with no movements, or you can find that little sway from side to side. Maybe rolling on your forehead. Your next inhale, press the floor away, come up onto your hands, keep your knees wide, and same thing, upward facing dog, but this time your knees are wide. Lift your feet off the floor, finding the point of the toes, so hips forward, heart forward, gaze is forward. Rock back to your child pose, sit bones towards your heels, melt the belly to the floor, your head rests. Take a full breath. Good, and then rock it forward. Upward facing dog with knees bent, feet pointing up towards the ceiling. Rock back, child pose. Take a full breath there. One more time. Upward facing dog, shifting forward. Good. Bring yourself back, child pose. Take a full breath. Good. Press the floor away. Walk your hands towards the body. Sit up nice and tall. Bring your knees and feet to touch. And we're just going to extend the legs out in front of you. So with legs straight, You're gonna find a bend to your left knee. Bring that foot close towards the body. So just you're holding onto the leg on the knee, the shin, the ankle, which part of the leg that you're holding on to does not matter as long as you're holding on to something just supporting that leg. Opposite leg is still straight, nice and active. See if you can sit up nice and tall. So option to stay right here or adding on. So if you want to add on, you're going to take hold of the foot. So maybe it's the foot you're holding on to, maybe the heel, maybe the shin, but two hands holding on to the foot. Then just see if you can lift your heel off the floor. So you're going to find some movements here. Move freely. So we want to invite some movements throughout your left hip crease, that left hip joint. So maybe just finding that rocking or swaying. Maybe straightening out the leg, or maybe a half happy baby variation with knee bends. So maybe leg straights, maybe a little bit of everything. And take one more breath with movements. And then you're gonna pause the movements. Hold on to the foot, the heel, the shin, the knee. We're gonna take it into a cradle. So maybe cradle looks like this, holding on to knee and foot. Or if you're looking to go further, you're just trying to hug the leg in towards the body. If it's there, you can place the sole of the foot in the elbow crease of the right arm. Left arm holding on to the left knee, maybe hands interlace. Still sitting up nice and tall. Take one more breath where you are. Good, and let that foot go, straighten out that leg. Then you're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. So find a bend to your right knee, bring that foot in towards the body, hold on to the knee, the shin, ankle, the foot, whatever you can reach. Then just see if you can lift that foot off the floor. So staying here, maybe taking both hands to the foot, find your rocking movements. Maybe your half happy baby variation with shin parallel to the floor, almost like you're trying to hug your knee towards the back wall. Maybe legs straight. So there's no right or wrong way to move here, but you're wanting to find the movements throughout that hip crease. Take one more breath with movements. And then pause. So you're taking that cradle on this side here. You're hugging the leg in towards the body, bringing the heel in towards the body. So here, ideally, whatever you chose to do on the other side, find that same option here. So you can hug that leg in. If it's there, you can place the sole of the foot in that elbow crease. Maybe hands interlace. Take one more breath. Good, and then release. Straighten out both legs. Take a moment to move throughout your ankles, your toes, your knees. And then we're going to come into half heroes. We're going to start with your left leg. You're going to find a bend to the left knee. Option to stay here. Or option to sweep that left foot behind you. So left knee bent with the foot extending behind you, opposite leg straight. If this is too much, this is where you can use your blanket or pillow or cushion and just place that blanket underneath your right thigh. So this elevates you off the floor, a little higher to make room. So adjust here with your props, however which way is needed. So no need to rush. Adjust. What does the body need from you to make this as comfortable as possible? Remember, you don't have to be here. You can take modifications, starting here and then sweeping back. And then just bring the fingers behind the body, press the floor away. Nice lift. You can stay tall, or if it's in your practice, you can come down onto your forearms. So maybe it's just starting with a bend to your elbows. Lean back. If it's there, you can come down onto your forearms. Even further, it might be in your practice to make your way onto your backs. If you are reclined onto your back, you can opt to keep right leg straight, or you can find a bend to the right knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the floor and just tucking your low back so that you find that connection with your low back to the floor. We're going to take 3 more breaths where you are. So the gaze can be forward. Maybe the gaze is up. If it feels okay, you can let your head hang back. Good. So take your time to ease out. If you're on your back, coming onto your elbows and then onto your hands, press yourself up. Sweep that left leg out in front. Maybe a little massage to the thigh or the knee. Good, and then switch sides. So find a bend to your right knee, holding here, sitting tall, or half hero here. So sweep your right foot towards the right side of the room, trying to bring your heel towards your glutes or your thigh, or your, not your glutes, but your one glute. So again, you can tuck your pillow or cushion or yoga block underneath your left thigh. This elevates you off the floor, making a little bit more room, more space for this pose. Good. When you're ready, hands are behind the body, pressing the floor away. Stay tall and lifted. Or start to find a bend to your elbows, just leaning back. If it's there, you can come down onto your forearms or on your back. Left leg can stay straight or bent. Sole the foot to the floor. Just tuck your low back so that that low back can connect to the floor. Or at least imagine that's what's happening. Gazing forward or gazing up, or if the neck feels okay, let the head hang heavy. More breaths here. Again, even slower, ease yourself up. If you're on your back, come up onto your elbows, onto your hands, and both legs straight. Again, maybe a little massage to the right knee or thigh. You're going to make your way onto your belly. No right or wrong way as far as how you get there. So laying down. And then just start with your hands below your shoulders. So if at any point in time it's needed, you can just bring your chin or forehead to the floor. But if the neck feels okay, you're lifting your head off the floor. So you're pressing throughout the tops of your feet, and you're engaging the legs so that your knees lift up off the floor. And imagine thighs pressing down towards the floor. See if you can tuck your belly button in so your navel comes in towards the spine. Stay here with your hands by your sides, or you can extend the arms behind you, reaching back. If you can reach, you can opt to interlace the hands. If the hands are interlaced, you're tucking the shoulder blades, tucking the elbows, and imagine that your knuckles are trying to reach towards your heels. Your heart shining forward. One more breath. And slowly release your hands. Bring your arms in front of you. And then just come up onto your elbows. And just bring your hands to your chin. You're just supporting the face. Your hands are on your cheeks. Hanging out here. Breathing for 3. There, then we're going to repeat one more time. Start with your hands by your sides, below your shoulders. Press into the tops of your feet. Lift the kneecaps. Hips pressing into the floor. Navel in, hands stay here, or extend the arms behind you, reaching back, or interlace the hands. Imagine your chest shining forward. One more breath in. With the exhale, release the hands. Bring the hands by your sides, if not already there. Come up onto your forearms or your elbows. Good. Take your hands, bring them to your cheeks, just holding on to your face, supporting the head. Breathe for 3. Make your way onto your backs. Again, super slow, pressing the floor away. Come up onto your hands, your knees. And sweep the legs off to the side, extend them out in front of you, and then lay back. Once reclined, you're gonna stay with knees bent. And we're gonna come into a variation of pigeon pose. So we're gonna start with hugging your right knee in towards the belly. And then just cross the ankle above your left knee. Right hand, press the knee or the thigh away. So gentle hip opener here. You can stay here, or if you're looking to add on, you're floating your left foot off the floor. Now see if you can straighten the left leg so that your toes are reaching up towards the ceiling. If it's there, you can shine the sole of the foot towards the sky. Your hands, you can scoop in between your legs and just holding onto the back of your thigh. Maybe the hands interlace, but you're trying to hug that left leg in towards the body, but at the same time, your low back is pressing into the floor. If wanting to add on, you can take your hands to your left knee, maybe shin, maybe reaching out for the ankle, maybe even reaching for the foot. So either or, you're still hugging that leg in towards the body. Low back to the floor. Two more breaths. Good, nice and slow. Release that left foot down. Hug your right knee in. And then release the right foot to the floor. Switch sides. Hug your left knee in. Cross the ankle above the right knee. Left hand, press the thigh away. So stay here or float the right foot up. See if you can straighten out the right leg. Toes to the ceiling, or shine the sole of the foot towards the sky. Hands can interlace behind your right thigh or the knee. Or the hands can walk up higher and higher and higher, holding on to whichever part of the leg or foot. But same thing, you're hugging the leg in towards the body, low back to the floor, creating opening throughout that left hip. Let your breath flow in and out. Breathing 2 more. At the end of your second breath, release the right foot down, hug your left knee in. Good, release that left foot down to the floor. Well done. You're gonna come into full straddle, but we're gonna start with legs straight, feet reaching up to the ceiling, and then just allow your legs to open towards the sides of the room. So if this is intense here, you can take your hands to support the legs, almost like you're creating a little kickstand for the leg. Otherwise, if it feels okay, you can let the hands go, maybe placing your hands inner thighs, just gently encouraging the legs to open maybe a little more. Now wherever you are, you can either stay full straddle with the kickstand or no hands, or you can add a flow here. If you want to join with the flow, you're going to bring your arms out to a T. And you're going to take the shape of your legs and just let your left leg come down towards the floor. So as you do this, your right leg kind of follows along. And then if it feels okay, see if you can bring your right leg to join the left. Good. And then super slow, you're going to create an opening. Start with the right leg to open. Find your range or your edge. Once you find your edge, you're going to pick up that left leg off the floor. So you're back to your full straddle and then lowering your right leg towards the right. Let your left leg follow. Maybe the legs touch. They don't have to. And then open with the left leg, taking that full straddle, and then coming back to center. So create a flow here, moving from left to right. So you can move with bringing your legs together, or you can just move with keeping your full straddle. So whichever one looks more appealing for you. Maybe try both, see which one feels best. Taking this movement nice and slow, no rushing involved. So you're going to flow just a couple more times on each side. And then come back to center. Good. Use your hands to support the legs. Bring them back in towards one another. Bend at the knees. Hug your knees in towards your belly. We're going to come back to a seat. So you can either roll onto your side or you can rock and roll. Coming back to a seat. Good. In your seat, we're going to take the legs crossed. Just crossing at the shins. And we're going to come into a fire log. So fire log, what is fire log? So So we're gonna ease into fire log. So this is one of those poses where I mentioned that it can be quite intense to start. But if you have those cushions and blocks by your side, you can use those to support the body so that it makes it a little bit more comfortable until you get a little bit deeper into the pose. So just make sure you listen to the body. If the body's telling you ow, 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 and you've all of a sudden noticed that you've stopped breathing, then it's too much. Just ease out of the pose, find child pose, and then join us back afterwards. But you know, there's definitely some modifications. We don't have to go straight into the pose, but we can ease in. So we're gonna just slowly work our way there. Start with your legs crossed, and then just see if you can separate the legs. So one leg is in front of the other. Doesn't matter how far apart or how far away the feet are from the body. You can start with the feet far away and eventually bringing them closer and closer. Okay, so this is a great place to start. Your fire log might look just like this. You can have your hands on your knees, your thighs, or by your side, or maybe behind the body. But if you're looking to find your full variation of a fire log, you're gonna start by trying to stack one shin on top of the other. So to do that, you're gonna start by crossing your left heel over top of your right knee or thigh. Okay, so this is where you're gonna be like, ooh, hello hips. So if you're here, that's okay. So what you wanna try to avoid doing is, if you feel like your booty is lifted off the floor, see if you can really find that connection. So it's better to have both knees lifted off the floor and you know, both your cheeks are on the floor. Otherwise, being like this, not as good. Okay, so don't worry so much about your leg touching the floor. See if you can connect booty to the floor first. This is where you can tuck some blocks, some cushions in between the legs, maybe underneath your thigh. Support the body as needed. And eventually, as you continue to work with this posture, you'll notice that eventually your shins will be stacked one on top of the other. So I'm not there. This is my full variation here. So there's nothing wrong with where you are right now. We're gonna take 5 more breaths where you are. If you are quite open here and your shins are stacked and your hands are behind the body and you're not feeling much of a stretch, thumbs up, not 1 thumbs up, but 2 thumbs up, fantastic, good for you. But if you are there, you can add a forward fold to it instead. Just leaning forward, maybe having your hands in front of the body and walking forward. So always options to add on, no matter where you are in your practice. So we all breathe at different paces. So at the end of your 5th breath, super slow, unwind, straighten out both legs for a moment. Move the body as needed, and we're gonna repeat that on the other side. So whatever option you took on this side, repeat on this one. So start with your legs crossed at the shins, and then just see if you can separate your shins so that you can get to the point where you're crossing your heel over top of your thigh. So find your edge, your variation of this pose. Tuck the blocks or cushions or blankets wherever needed. Trying to stack the shins. You'll also notice if the bottom leg, if you bring your heel closer and closer towards the body, your hip will be able to open maybe a little bit more. But ideally, you're not wanting really to bring the heel in towards the body, but it can be used as a support for the other leg until you work into a further variation of this pose. But ideally, your shins are parallel. Again, hands are either on your thighs, by your side, behind the body, or you're folding forward. I know you're thinking, hey, this is gentle class. This is supposed to be gentle, but gentle doesn't necessarily mean easy. It just means more restorative poses. So instead of focusing on building strength, we're working on flexibility and creating space into the body. Again, once you've completed your 5th breath, slowly straighten out the legs. make your way back to child pose. So normally finish our class with Shavasana, but this evening we're going to end it with child pose. So ideally, if you can stay there for 5 minutes, you can do this on your own, set a timer and shut the video off if you choose to do so. But I'm going to hang out with you guys in child pose for a few moments, just resting there quietly, focusing on your breath. So your child pose can be knees touching or knees wide. You can have your arms by your sides or arms straight out in front of you. So take your last pose, your child pose. If the mind wanders, see if you can come back to your breath. Take a few more breaths. Begin to walk your hands towards your body. Coming up tall, bring your knees to touch, if not already touching. And just rest the backs of your hands on your thighs. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And feel free to leave comments, feedback. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message. We'll still our practice with the united breath. So bring your arms out by your sides. You're going to inhale the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Close your eyes, slight bow. The heart in me honors the heart in you. Namaste.